when the framework is there, you have aligned on the framework, there is a lot of creative inside, a lot of dancing together and getting comfortable not knowing. Instead of trying to focus on solution, you focus on questions.
Yeah.
So that it's totally different state, because you have the pleasure to move forward together.
Welcome to the show. I'm so glad to have you here today.
Thank you so much, Lyssa. It's just a pleasure. And, we are smiling on both sides. We are ready for a holistic experience. Yes, so it's really, I'm really feeling curious, excited, and very peaceful at the same time.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Mhm.
Well, as you know, I mean, part of what I'm really curious about is what are the influences that bring a person into coaching and ultimately, keep a person so engaged with coaching that they move from ACC to PCC to MCC, or just PCC to MCC, however that happens for them. And I would love to hear a little bit about the journey that brought you into coaching and led you to your MCC.
Yes, it's a long journey. It's an important question. I've been reflecting a lot on that, how I came to coaching. I'm a scientist by background, and I decided first to focus on science before I decided to focus on coaching.
Mhm.
I was always interested by the topic of health. What do we mean when we talk about health? So from a very young age, I was interested in this topic and asking myself these questions. So I said, maybe a good idea is to become a scientist so I can understand how the body works. Because initially, I thought health is about the body. So that was the first, this question is still with me. Yeah? What do we mean when we talk about health? The difference now at my age, with my experience compared to the beginning of my life, is that I perceive it differently in terms of, I was focused on the body initially. That was my first perception or approach of the topic. Now I see it more holistically. So this happens through life and career. I became a scientist. I did research. I work because I'm French, for those who are listening, you probably guess from my French accent, I'm from Paris initially. So I studied there, right? And then I worked I did research for the French government, and then I moved to US and I did research for the US government. And then I went back to Europe and I joined the pharma industry, where I spent 20 years of my life leading projects, leading teams, change management, and then I was an internal coach for a big company before I set up my own business, my own coaching business 10 years ago. So during this journey, my question was still there. What do we mean when we talk about health? But then I realized that it's not only about the body, and it's not only about developing medicines to cure disease and ensure people are healthy. It's about the mind, it's about the relationship, it's about our interaction with the external world. And this shift happened when I joined project teams. There was a shift in my mind. I said, the relationship with people, it's even more interesting than being in the lab and mixing ingredients. When you mix people, what
different
happens?
kinds of ingredients, right?
Exactly, yeah. So my fascination for connecting things, right, and observing what happens when I was in the lab and mixing ingredients and then observing, what happens, shifted for my interest. Okay, if I work with this person, or if this person is working with this one, what happens? So I found it was another level of complexity and interest. And I said, yeah, it's another perspective on health, a more holistic one. So that's why it pushed me to move outside of the lab, which was not an easy decision. And gradually, I got, experience in leading. And then I was, nicely pushed towards coaching. okay, being on the side and coaching leaders and teams,
Mhm.
and towards entrepreneurship. So, it's a journey from, to summarize, it's a journey from, the common point is health, and it's from curing to preventing, because I really believe that coaching is a great tool to prevent disease in a broad sense.
Mhm.
So that's what it is. This is where I am at the moment. I'm passionate about coaching because for me it's a tool to prevent disease and to participate or contribute to a healthy world in general. Yeah.
Well, and I want to talk more about that in a second, but I really want to also notice, I think it's really interesting that as a small child, you're already beginning with the inquiry of what does this even mean?
Mhm.
And I love that. I just want to acknowledge that because I think that's such a powerful mindset to begin in any kind of inquiry from, like, what does it even mean? Because what it means to people is going to be as fluid as the number of, people you're exploring, right? As to what the meaning of a thing is, like health, or whatever the thing is that you're looking at. But I love that you started there. So as you
Thank you, Lyssa. And I want to take maybe the opportunity to say that we know, coaches and leaders, that the power is in the question, not in the solution. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that it really is about the inquiry and not the
yeah.
solution. And I think, one of the things that I'm also hearing you talk about is as you start to look at sort of the complex ingredients that are now human ingredients, to what it is that you're studying, there is this interconnectedness of relationships that are so pivotal to how, whether it is the individual or the organization or the team is working. And yeah, so how in your exploration, what are you noticing as this holistic health perspective that you're bringing into your coaching? How does that framework work for you or look for you?
Yeah, it's really this aspect of, the power is in the openness, the curiosity. And I was just ready to say that I'm really happy and grateful for having this discussion together, because we met recently. And it feels to me that there is a power in that, right? What we are doing here now, pretty spontaneously, for sure, there is an intention on both sides. We know what we want to achieve with that in terms of message, learning, and getting to know each other, or many, many other things, right? And we
Right.
enjoy to explore that together, not knowing exactly what's going to happen during the discussion. So that openness to the intention, okay, the vision, plus the openness on the process is really key, I think, to have impact and happiness in life. So I think that's a
Yeah.
demonstration. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I do think this is that sort of that spontaneous, spontaneous, obviously we planned it to be together
Mm-hmm.
today.
Yeah.
And yet there's a spontaneity in where will the conversation take us. And to your point, that is also coaching, right? Where we go into the conversation without a predetermined set of, like, this is what we're going to do today, and instead go in with the spontaneity and openness to what shows up so that we can be fully in the moment with another human
Mm-hmm.
being
Mm-hmm.
in that relationship. Yeah, no, I love that. And it really is a parallel. It really is a parallel to coaching, but also just to life. Like, what is the
Yeah.
mindset that you approach life with? And what are you discovering? Like, what is the mindset that you approach life with, and how that impacts that overall health? What have you discovered?
So I would summarize at this point of my understanding, my personal experience, and the one of people I coach. It's really this aspect of caring on one side and daring to say things or to face emotion, or, yeah. And for me, over my life, it was a journey to daring. Okay. So,
Yeah.
because I know we are here also to explore, why coaching and why MCC and all of that. So it's also to you know, the caring was always there with me. Okay. So because of this question, okay, what we are talking about when we talk about health. So I had that in myself.
Right.
What I had
In your
to learn,
bones was already the caring.
in my DNA, in my bones,
Yeah.
okay, like many coaches and leaders, I
Yeah.
right to serve, and sometimes without even noticing, we enter what we name the drama triangle, where we are
Yes.
more helpers, okay, than really assertive, right, in the center of the triangle. And so I had to learn how to move from this helper role, okay, to the center of the triangle, where you care and you dare.
Yeah.
So that daring part was really transformational for me. Dare to say things in a respectful way. Respect yourself so that you share what you observe, and you ask questions to understand the other side. So that's a link with relationship, right?
Yeah.
So,
And I love that you brought up Kaufman's dreaded drama triangle. And because I think, and you're talking about it in a way that I haven't heard before, which is this way of being in the center of it versus at any one of the three edges, you know, as either the helper, the victim, I guess the victim's down here, the victim, or the perpetrator, if we want to use that, aggressor, if we use that language. But what is it? How is that journey into the center of the triangle? Like, would you be willing to share a bit about your own journey into the center of the triangle?
Yes, it's really, I mean, there are fun parts and not so fun parts, let's say, because, you know, the life of a victim or helper or persecutor is not always easy, right? So the helper traditionally will be motivated to help, even if nobody is asking for help, right? So, so you can imagine
Let me help you.
the weight on your shoulders every day, huh?
Lots of responsibility.
Looking for opportunities to help unconsciously, right? And so I had for years this tension in the neck and the shoulders, and I couldn't figure out. I knew by training as a scientist that there is a science of the body. The body expresses, you know, what the mind, you know, doesn't want to express. So my body was expressing something, but I couldn't make sense of it. I learned with my clients also. Huh? So I realized gradually exploring, trying to ask myself different questions and then connecting with my body. I said, you are trying to control something here. You know, you are trying, you do too much. Huh? You are trying too hard. You are trying to find solutions for others because you are maybe like this by nature and you have been trained and rewarded for that, right?
I'm going to throw something out here and see what you think of this, because I've wrestled with a similar, I mean, I love the Kaufman Drama Triangle. I mean, I think it's such an amazing theoretical idea to play with, right? And so one of the thoughts that I have also had is that sometimes we get comfortable in that role, whatever the role is that we've found ourselves in, as a result of the fact that we get a benefit from it. Like, you know, I get to help people appreciate my helping them. So I get this sort of side benefit. But also, if I'm focused on helping you, it takes the attention off of the work that I might need to do for myself. And so, you know, I'm just going to throw that out there because I am curious your thoughts on that.
Absolutely. I fully agree with that. It's a coping mechanism, means it's a way not to face your emotions. Okay?
Yeah.
It takes courage to face emotions. So we all carry emotions from the past, you know, and sometimes we say, no, I don't want to look at this.
No.
Yeah, exactly. My way to deal with that was to work a lot and, you know, to, you know, to achieve a lot. And I was rewarded for that, right? All my life, all my career, right? So performance, you know?
Yeah.
Focus on the result. The mind was working all the time.
Little tough.
Yeah. So then you get this neck and shoulder problem, right? Because you're doing too much. Huh? So your body is telling you, can you stop for a while and reflect and face your emotion, okay? And deal with your emotions so that you are in a state of well-being where you can be present for others and you can actually achieve more with less effort.
Yeah. I think it's also an interesting idea for people, not just coaches, but for people to consider. Where you come in the drama triangle is going to be dependent on who you are as a person and how, where you were, I don't know, rewarded and how you were rewarded for showing up. So in some people's lives, it might be as not that they're being intentionally an aggressor, but it may come from that aggressive stance, right? Like the more powerful I am, the more people leave me alone. So I kind of generally start in that corner, or we come into the world through the lens of the victim where, people help us if we're helpless, right? And so we get the sort of the secondary gain of being saved on a regular basis. And so that movement into the center is really interesting to me. And because you don't want to go, I mean, if I'm hearing you correctly, it's not about the movement from helper to aggressor or helper to victim. It's the movement into some holistic center space. Am I hearing you correctly? And could you talk more about that?
Yeah. So I was very interested by the research on the drama triangle. It really resonated with me. And so there are publications around how you can move from the edge to the center gradually by taking intermediate roles, let's say. Okay. So interestingly enough, and that's a link with our discussion around coaching here, the intermediate role from helper, your preferred role helper, to the center of the triangle is named coach.
Yes, of course it is.
Okay. So I was really, when I read that, I said, yes, absolutely. The difference from the helper and the coach is that the intention, the positive intention is still there, for sure. But instead of doing all the work yourself, trying to find solution by yourself, okay? Even when you are not sure if the other wants help, you are first asking, what do you want? Okay, as a coach, aligning on that, and so creating a partnership, contract. And then when the framework is there, you have aligned on the framework, there is a lot of creative insight, a lot of dancing together, and getting comfortable not knowing. Instead of trying to focus on solution, you focus on questions.
Yeah.
So that it's totally different state, because you have the pleasure to move forward together without being concerned of the results, focusing on the process. So for me, the shift is to move from helper to coach, is from focus on the result to focus, or the solution, to focus on the question, which nicely bring you in the center of the triangle, which is named assertive positioning, where after asking yourself, what do I need to feel good? What's important for me? And giving you what you need, then you can be present for others and ask them, what's important for you? What do you need to feel good? And then co-create the future together.
Right. Yeah. And allowing them to lead that developmental element of self-reflection that they generate internally by the question that you ask, versus you telling them, here's the prescription to heal you, right? So that you can be at ultimate health.
I'm applauding because you just highlighted why I made the shift from from curing to preventing, because I understood at some point that yes, we are prescribing something. We are, as researchers, as scientists, we try to understand something, and then we develop something which could be useful, and sometimes it is, yes. I'm not saying we don't need to do that. And if we can ask questions and help people to help themselves before, they get, disease, that's even better. That is the reason why I made the shift, because I could be still on the side of curing. And I think it's very important, because when you are sick, you need support for sure. There is a part you can work on yourself, but you need also help when it's needed. But, if you can prevent, it's even better.
Yeah. And I mean, I love this exploration into this inquiry, right? This movement from helper into coach. Are there, I mean, because we all come in at different elements of this triangle also, right? So it's not just that everybody comes in as a helper. Honestly, I don't think that I came in as a helper. I think I came in not as a victim. I probably came in more from the like assertive role, right? And so like my own movement towards the center in my mind, and I'm curious if there's other ways into the center, like how people move into the center. My experience of moving into the center, if I am even in the center, which I hope I am, at least I'm always working towards the center, was to let go of control. Right. And that also fits with coaching, right? With this letting go of the need to be right, or the need to control the environment so that I'm safe, which is where I came from in my experience. And so I'm just curious from you, from your perspective, like what are the other avenues for people who maybe don't come in as helpers? And not all coaches start off as helpers. Like some of us end up here because we do enough of our own work that we're like, hey, I like this now because this has been a really interesting experience I've been on in this life.
Yeah, that's great that you underline that. Okay, we have preferred role and we can all go into the center. And it's great that you said that not all coaches come from helper. Absolutely not. Yeah. So whatever, I believe that it's not so much about from where you come from. It's your journey which counts. Okay, so the research shows that for each side of the triangle, you have intermediate role you can take eventually. So the intermediate role for the persecutor is named challenger. So again, in this role, you will, state your mind, you will challenge in a positive way instead of trying to control.
Oh, I just had a connection with something you said earlier, which is that caring to daring, right?
Yes.
I came from daring and needed to move to caring.
Yeah. Yes. How nice is that? What you just described also with the body language, Lyssa, if I may, it's connecting. Connecting. How beautiful is that?
Yeah.
We are all trying to connect and to find ourselves and connect with others, like we feel one. It's extremely powerful when this happens. And I dare to say that I feel very connected with you as we talk about this topic and we show about our own experience. There is, I think, at least this is what my understanding is at the moment, a perception or a belief sometimes that to protect ourselves, we need to control. And this is usually coming from what we name trauma or specific experience in life when we didn't feel safe and we didn't have the full understanding. Usually this happens when we are kids, the full understanding of the situation or the same as we have as adults. And so we interpreted that, that we need to control to feel safe. In reality, at least this is my experience, the best positioning for feeling safe is openness.
Right. But that takes courage. And I mean, they all take courage, right? I'm sure they all take courage. But boy, that is, that's a scary thing for a person to do who has spent their whole entire life trying to control things so that they can feel safe, right? Just like trying to help people in order to avoid looking at like whatever it is that we do.
And you know, honestly, I think life is about learning that.
I do too.
Moving from control to openness, at our rhythm. Because we are all unique, we all have a story in life. My experience in coaching is that if you create a safe space, a respectful space where there is no judgment, only curiosity, and you are with the person or the team, then, you know, at some point, people dare to say things. Sometimes that they have never said to anybody else. And there is, that's what we name a haha moment, where they realize, you know, that they can face their emotions, their belief, and it's not dangerous. It's a relief, you know. So it's a unique experience.
Yeah. But boy, doesn't it open, I mean, when we move through these doorways of the unknown and we step through something, that liminal space, right, into something new, there's a confidence that comes from having taken the steps and done the work to get there, that then shows up in other ways. Which really makes me think then also about at the bottom of the triangle, you know, the person who's coming into the space through the victim role. What do you see as the engagement towards the center for the victim?
Yes. So for this role, the research shows that the intermediate step is so-called creator. And I have a very good example. I just did a coaching before our discussion, and for sure I will keep, you know, things very confidential.
Yeah, confidence. You can share the learning though. The learning.
Just the learning, okay? Because it's very fresh in my mind. I had a very nice feedback from a person who was struggling for years, feeling like helpless in terms of, you know, interacting with people and, you know, setting up positive relationships. So she was navigating between not doing, not trying, or pushing too much. So creating a lot of, you know, chaos, let's say. And you know, and also a lot of stress for herself, not understanding what was going on. So when we were able to tackle this drama triangle, she was able to identify, you know, her role, and she identifies that she was playing victim most of the time as a preferred role. And when she could then start to as a creator to ask more questions and, you know, to share ideas without trying to control the outcome of it. She shared with me the powerful shift it has with her manager and the colleagues. So she was able really in 1 hour to change, really. She said it's really transformational. That, you know, now she perceives things very differently, the relationship very differently. So she's not scared anymore. She's confident that, you know, she can share what comes as ideas and receive feedback without trying to avoid or push. It's more like, you know, you try to find, I think, you know, during life, we are moving from being stable to being unstable, right? Like when we walk. Okay, so you leave the comfort zone.
Stable, unstable, stable, unstable, stable, unstable.
Exactly. Yes. So it's really, sometimes we forget we do that all the time. So it's just coming back to this idea that we need security and we need also surprise, right? And that brings you in the center.
Right, yeah.
That brings you in the center.
Yeah. You know, the other thing that shows up as you're talking about this too is a sense of, well, a couple things come to mind when I think of people moving from that primary victim role into a state of maybe the confidence to be able to do it on your own, right? Like that you're working on your own sense of agency and your own sense of autonomy. And to become empowered to to not need somebody to come save you or to appreciate you or to whatever you in order for you to feel okay, but rather that sense of I have that within myself, that internal ownership.
Yeah, it's I think this caring and daring summarize very well. It's on both sides.
On
It's really,
all three of them, I think.
you need to find that in yourself, you know. I think
Yeah.
we have two sides, you know. That's why, you know, it's so interesting for me, you know, this, you know, neck and, you know, shoulders tension we have when we try to do too much, because it's like we lose the equilibrium in the body, you know, or the movements that we need, you know. We are too static, we are too, you know, sometimes. So it's like accepting that things happen during the day, and it's, you know, appreciating the emotion, the salt of life, right? Feeling, feeling, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's
Daring to feel, right?
daring to feel. Well, and I think too, you know, it's sort of interesting also because I was just talking to somebody yesterday, and we were talking about the tension with coaches around going too deeply into things with people. Like everybody wants to stay out of the story. Nobody wants to be the therapist, like to accidentally trip into the role of therapist. And the thought that came to me as we were talking was that it wasn't about the depth of going deep with clients that is the problem. It is that we don't need to go into the depth of their trauma, but we can go into the depth of their awareness and insights. And that takes courage, though, also, because now we're letting go of knowing so that we can ask the challenging question, or we can the creative question, or the, you know, insightful question that supports their internal awareness. But the depth is such a part of it, and the discomfort of going into depth is something that we have to explore in order to be able to show up in a more partnered way with people.
Yes, and also to live your life fully, I would say, because for most of us, we have used our brain a lot, right? And sometimes we forget that we have a body and we have feelings, and this is very useful and complementary, and they have to be aligned, the heart and the mind, you know, to feel good, authentic, and to have, you know, nice relationship with people and impact. So, and for this you need to reconnect with your feelings and your body. And for most of us, it's pretty uncomfortable, because I'm really interested and fascinated by this topic of emotions and how we deal with emotions. And you know, it's what I realize for myself and others, it can feel very scary, as you said, to feel what's gonna happen, okay? Will I die? Maybe that's the ultimate question. If I feel too much, right? There is this fear. How can I handle that? Especially if I was not connected to my body for a while, right?
Yeah.
Because different, you know, education or experience of life. And it's only when you face it. I often say emotions are really great tools, because they tell us, well, there is a difference apparently in the way I perceive the environment and the reality I would like to see. So it's very useful. Otherwise, we are blind. We don't know how to move forward. So you sense it because you sense positive or so-called negative energy. It's energy anyway, but it's in you coming in the body, some reaction, and then if you have the courage to face it and look at it, okay, what is that? And what do I want to do with that? What do I learn? Then the emotion goes. Otherwise, you carry it for hours,
It
days.
gets bound into you.
Yeah. And you can carry that for years and don't feel very good. And that can, you know, block your relationship with others as well, because you are in fear. What's going to happen if I feel a new emotion and then I am full, you know?
Yeah.
So it's really
Yeah.
like, taking the courage to face things by verbalizing or release, or write or something, but just, look at it, dare to look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
do
use it.
think,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
I really think that emotions tell us things. I see them as doorways also into understanding and awareness. And if we can be, again, to your point, brave enough to explore what's showing up for us, it gives us so much information versus the shutting it down and
Mhm.
the stopping it, which then, unconsciously we're still responding to whatever that is that we're avoiding. It doesn't go away just
Yeah.
because, we're not looking at it. It doesn't, I mean, you can sweep something under the rug and it's still
Yes.
under the rug.
Exactly. To the point that, we exchange energy all the time with others, even through the screen, doesn't change anything. So people feel it.
Yeah.
You don't need to say anything. People feel your level of energy. And the level of energy, to come back to the drama triangle, if that makes sense, the level of energy of so-called persecutor, victim, and helper is not the same. So you unfortunately, because it's not so nice to be in the drama triangle, you unfortunately attract complementary people
Yes.
because of the level of energy or situation. And when you are in the center, you have a different level of energy and you tend to attract people on the same level of energy, which is
Yeah.
facilitating your life. So
Yeah.
that's very important to understand. This is totally unconscious.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
why you see repeated circumstances in the life of people until at some point they stop and then they face what
Yeah.
they need to face.
Yeah, like it's sort of interesting, at one point in my life, I looked at the people that I had surrounding me and I'm like, these are all lovely people, but they're not the right people for me, right? But
Mhm.
there was that fear of like, if I was authentically myself, what if I were rejected, right? Like I think that
Mhm.
this is a common kind of theme in human experience. I don't want to be rejected, or I don't want to not be liked, or what if I say something and somebody gets mad at me, or whatever that is, right? And that learning to step into that compassionate detachment with how we ourselves are stepping into the world and holding ourselves accountable. Like, is my head and heart, like,
Mhm.
am I in alignment with the people I'm surrounding myself with the energy I'm surrounding myself with? And I think that's really crucial. And I really think, like, going back into the idea of coaching with this, I mean, it is that I say the word requirement, nobody's required to do anything in this life that they, when it comes to self-reflection. Yet I think to be in real partnership and to be truly authentic in a relationship with another human being means that we're exploring these elements of ourself.
Mhm. Mhm.
Now, here's another question, because I've noticed this in my own experience too, which is I think that sometimes we move around the drama
Yes.
triangle. Like, we might have a preferred style, but
Yes.
if I come in as a helper because I'm going to help you, and then you see me as a helper to begin with, but then you start to see me as a persecutor because I'm trying to
Yes.
make you do something different. And then you are like, but I'm just trying to help, and become the
Mhm.
victim, right? Like,
Mhm.
we can all
Yes.
change our roles within this dynamic as well. And so it's not just like there's one right way to come into it.
Mhm.
We play all the parts. And
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Alors, I'm also very interested in what my clients, because we work with this tool quite often, and then they collect, they collect stories, and then we talk about the stories, and
yeah,
so it's very complex and interesting actually. You can play with yourself, okay? So you can play
in only the
alternatively.
best way
Oh,
possible.
we have so many ways to have fun, okay? So we can play, we start with our preferred role for sure. So we have a judgment, we start a drama triangle with ourselves, and then we can turn with playing with ourselves the different roles. We can persecute ourselves, we can help ourselves, we can be a victim of ourselves. So,
Yes.
and you can play alternatively or even more complex together. simultaneously, okay? Okay, so that's one thing. And then if you want to make it even more fun, unconsciously, you will, at the same time, play with others. I'm just giving examples. There are so many different stories, but so you are playing already with yourself, and then you start a game with somebody else, and you can maybe also involved with another one. So this happens quite often, actually. We don't notice. The only way you can notice, and that's a link with your facing emotion, is that you will recognize it if you are connected with your body, and then you say, I'm not feeling very good in this relationship. Something is, I don't know, something is happening. You can be sure you're in a drama triangle. Otherwise, you will feel happy,
comfortable,
enjoying,
relaxed, yourself. Yeah.
Enjoying, trusting, all of that. Yeah.
It takes I mean, and this is just my perspective, but I think it takes a bit of not taking it all so seriously in order to start to play with this stuff also, right? Like to bring that playful spirit into it. It's like, oh, and this is honestly conversations I've had with my husband where I'm like, I'm feeling like I'm in you're persecuting me. He'll be like, well, now I'm feeling like the victim because I was just trying to help. And so like, those kind of, but we're playing with it, but it's also true. But by bringing it into awareness for both of us, then we can also not take our situation quite so seriously, whatever that situation is. So it's such a powerful tool for awareness and also, if you'd like, have fun with it, right? Like make it fun.
If I may, Lyssa, you really summarize, what I also have in my mind, which is a link, I believe, with fun and, health. Okay.
Yeah.
Probably, and people were always surprised because I was trained as a scientist and work in the pharma industry for 20 years. So people are always surprised and sometimes even shocked. But, I'm not, again, I'm not saying that medicine is useless. I'm just saying that we know that fun is the best medicine. Okay.
Yeah,
so
laughter.
Because, what happens physiologically is that, it shakes your body, all the organs, and it helps to make movement inside, which is so important, okay? The blood and the lymph and all of that, okay? So very good. So to prevent disease, to have fun, so to laugh together, laugh about yourself, laugh about with others in a positive way, right? In a positive intention. So the link with this drama triangle and how my clients use that is that, okay, notice them, collect them, and laugh about them. So I have clients, they share with their teams, and they all talk about this. The change, I got feedback, very positive feedback, the change it makes in relationship, it's incredible. Because now they understand what's happening, and they also realize that we are all human, we are not perfect, so it's totally normal from time to time. Let's say we are under pressure and then unconsciously we enter in the drama triangle, and then they say, oh, you are doing your preferred role at the moment. Then, so it's a way to de-dramatize and to stop the game.
Yeah, right? Which is what it is. It's an unconscious game we're playing where we get to pick our little game piece and then we lock ourselves into it forever versus recognizing we are capable of everything. It's interesting. I took an acting class several years ago, and one of the things that the acting teacher had said to me is if you're a human being, you're capable of every single emotional expression of humanness that is available in the universe, right? Like it's all available to you. It's your job to discover it. And in a way, I mean, I love that this came up because I think that's so much a part of coaching is to bring the invisible into visible so that we can be at choice about how we're going to choose to approach a situation or a person or a conversation or whatever it is that we're approaching, and be at choice about how we're going to do that. And is this, because it's my preferred role, the best way, or is there something within that center which is in my mind at this moment is like all the potential possibilities of how we
Yes,
might approach a
exactly.
situation or a person or a thing, right?
Yeah, beautifully said, absolutely. So leadership is at the center where everything is possible. You
Yeah.
can play, you can choose, because we have all humanity in ourselves. The reason why we tend to play a preferred role is because of education, of culture, of filters, of beliefs we have accumulated.
Mm-hmm.
So to understand and realize that you can play different roles in the drama triangle, very different emotions if you want, very powerful, because it helps you to be at ease with yourself and with others. We are all human,
Yeah.
right? And it's about choice. So you want to be intentional about your choice, and for that you need to, have awareness, huh? And play together and learn. And that's why we interact with others. Actually, is to learn about ourselves and release our potential and be intentional in our, yes, how do we want to present ourselves, how does that facilitate the achievement of our vision, how does that help with using our strengths and all of that, which is a
Yeah.
beautiful journey, right?
Yeah. Well, and I think to your earlier point, it's the journey of a lifetime, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's what you do in the gap, right? To to explore this experience that you're having, and how do you want to explore it, and what is the energy you want to align yourself with? That's a choice you have. This is this has been just such a lovely conversation. I really, really, I just so much appreciate it. And so I think you've shared a lot about, really what you're passionate about, but also I think there's so many gems in here for coaches to take away from as ways of exploring themselves. And and how do you see people getting support and doing the work that's needed in order to really be able to show up so fully with themselves and with others?
Yeah, and I think there is also a link with the topic of, how to develop as a coach. My learning, and to summarize what we discuss from my perspective, is that it's about caring and not carrying the weight,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
At least this
Every
was for me, a key turning point. Again, the power is in the question, caring to open the space for discussion and not necessarily trying to do too much to find a way. So being focused on the process and not the results, which is a big shift. And I struggled for a while with that because I was so attached to the result and my helper role. So I was like, I really struggled. I really felt the transformation. And I think we need to struggle at some point to develop. We need to find our way, and I think coaching is beautiful process for that, because for sure you can, learn, attend trainings, you can observe others, you can get a mentor, supervision, etc. All of that is great. At the end, you have to take the responsibility to face what you have to face and to struggle to get where you want to be. So yeah, so it's
Yeah.
really, you need to dare, right?
Yeah.
So you can set up a caring framework. At the end, you need to do it, right? So
Yes.
yeah, you dare to try and to get there in the new zone, sometimes uncomfortable process. That's, metaphor of life, huh?
Yeah, it is the
From
metaphor of
birth to
life.
death. So it's like from time to time we struggle, and it's necessary. It's like this, it's part of life. There were research showing that if you help a caterpillar to transform in a butterfly,
It won't ever learn to fly.
unfortunately, it
Yeah.
won't fly. So, yeah.
There's
So
nobody who can
enjoy
open
the
your
process.
yeah, there's nobody who can open your chrysalis for you but you,
Yeah.
or
Yes,
hatch you out of
exactly.
your egg. I think they found similar things with, you know, birds and chicks that got help. They need that process of breaking through the egg in order to strengthen themselves. I think they ultimately learn how to fly, but I mean, it takes probably longer because there's something needed in that struggle. Plus, how boring would life be if it was one note throughout the entirety of it? I mean, we need these challenges. Not everybody's going to climb Mount Everest. And frankly, based on everything I've seen, people should stop climbing Mount Everest. They're killing Mount Everest, but that's a whole nother topic. But we have our own internal Mount Everest that we could be climbing.
Yeah,
Right?
it's a way to develop confidence.
Yeah, yeah. That's brilliant. So, you know, I have a final question that I ask people as we come to a close. If you were writing your autobiography today, could be different tomorrow, but today, what would you title your autobiography today?
Well, I think I keep on this aspect of, you know, caring and daring. She cared and she dared to, develop a vision and you know, move forward in that direction. Right.
Beautiful.
So, yeah, I think that's really
Christine Billy,
representing my journey.
caring and daring.
Yes, 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 yes. Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah.
Christine, thank you so much for being on the Coaching Studio. And I will have links below to everything so people can find you and learn more from you. And thank you so much for being here today. I have
Yeah.
thoroughly enjoyed the conversation.
Thank you so much, Lyssa. It has been really a pleasure. I realized it's been almost 1 hour and I didn't realize that. So I was really enjoying the moment with you. Thank you for the opportunity, and we stay in touch. And yeah, something was created in this relationship, and now I'm curious to see how this will develop. And also for those who are, you know, listening to this, I hope you got something useful, and you know, I would be very happy to connect with you and to listen about what you learn from that, because that's how we all contribute to moving forward. So thanks again.
Absolutely.